Imagine this scenario. You are walking home late at night. The temperature has dropped to 15 degrees. Your car broke down 2 miles back. Your phone is dead. You instinctively start walking faster, believing movement will keep you warm. But what if I told you that this exact instinct could kill you within the hour? What if I told you that the way you are breathing right now, the clothes you chose this morning, even the direction you are facing could be the difference between survival and a frozen body found at dawn? The homeless veterans who survive these temperatures every single night know something you do not. They know 12 specific secrets that violate everything you have been taught about staying warm. It is a terrifying reality, but it is the truth. There is a silent killer waiting for you in every cold weather emergency. And it attacks from directions you least expect. It is not just the freezing air around you. It is your own instincts betraying you. Your own body making fatal decisions without your permission. Tonight, I am going to share every single one of these 12 secrets. The life-saving methods they do not teach you anywhere else. Let us begin. Number 1. The veteran mindset. Before we discuss any physical technique, we must address the foundation that makes everything else possible, the veteran mindset. Because survival at minus 20 degrees is won or lost in the mind long before the body starts to fail. Here is what most people do not understand about extreme cold. It attacks your psychology before it attacks your physiology. The cold creates panic. Panic creates poor decisions. Poor decisions create death. This sequence kills more people than the temperature itself. A civilian caught in extreme cold experiences something researchers call thermal anxiety. The body senses danger. Adrenaline floods the system. The mind races through worst-case scenarios. Breathing accelerates. Heart rate spikes. And every one of these panic responses actually increases heat loss. You are literally frightening yourself to death. Homeless veterans approach the same situation completely differently. They have been trained to operate under conditions of extreme stress. Combat taught them that panic is the enemy. Deployment taught them that discomfort is not danger. Years on the street taught them that cold is a problem to be solved, not a crisis to be feared. Watch a homeless veteran prepare for a minus 20 night. There is no panic. There is assessment. There is planning. There is methodical execution of learned techniques. The emotional temperature stays flat even as the actual temperature plummets. Here is the technique they use. Veterans call it the mission frame. Instead of thinking about survival as an overwhelming challenge, they break it into small sequential objectives. Objective 1, secure location. Objective 2, establish ground insulation. Objective 3, create wind barrier. Each objective is achievable. Each success builds confidence. The impossible night becomes a series of possible tasks. They also use controlled breathing. 4 seconds in. Hold for 4 seconds. 4 seconds out. This box breathing technique was taught in military stress training. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system. It lowers heart rate. It reduces oxygen consumption. It stops the panic spiral before it begins. The rule is fundamental. At minus 20 degrees, your mind will try to kill you before the cold does. Control your mind first. The physical survival techniques only work if you are calm enough to execute them. Number 2, the site selection protocol. This is the technique that separates veterans from civilians in cold weather survival. Site selection. Because the difference between a good location and a bad location at minus 20 degrees is the difference between sleeping and dying. Here are the numbers that change everything. Wind at just 10 miles per hour can make minus 20 feel like minus 45. That is a 25-degree penalty for choosing an exposed location. At 15 miles per hour, the wind chill drops to minus 51. At 20 miles per hour, minus 57. You are losing degrees faster than you can add layers. Homeless veterans treat site selection as a tactical operation. They scout locations during daylight. They assess wind patterns. They identify thermal advantages. They have mental maps of every survivable spot in their territory. Here is the protocol they follow. First priority is wind blockage. A location with complete wind protection is worth more than any amount of insulation. Veterans seek spots with barriers on multiple sides. The corner of 2 buildings, the interior of a parking structure, a recessed loading dock with walls on 3 sides and an overhang above, bridge underpasses where concrete blocks wind from all directions. Second priority is thermal mass proximity. Large concrete and brick structures absorb heat during the day and release it slowly at night. Sleeping near a building wall can provide measurable warmth from this residual heat. Veterans position themselves close to these surfaces, sometimes just inches away, to capture radiant heat that would otherwise dissipate into the air. Third priority is overhead protection. Cold air sinks. On a still night, the coldest air settles at ground level. Any overhead cover, even partial cover, disrupts this settling pattern. It also blocks radiative heat loss to the night sky. Veterans report that sleeping under any kind of roof, even a thin one, can feel 5 to 10 degrees warmer than open sky exposure. Fourth priority is ground composition. Concrete conducts heat away from the body faster than asphalt. Asphalt conducts faster than wood. Wood conducts faster than soil. Soil conducts faster than dry leaves or debris. Veterans choose locations where the ground material itself provides some insulation. The rule is tactical. Choose your position like you are planning a military operation. Wind protection is your primary objective. Every other factor is secondary. Number 3, the layered fortress. Now we move to the physical construction of a survival system. At -20 degrees, insulation is not optional. It is life support. And homeless veterans have mastered the art of building insulation from materials that most people consider garbage. Here is the physics that governs their approach. Your body produces approximately 100 watts of heat at rest. At -20 degrees, you are losing heat through 4 pathways simultaneously. Conduction through contact with cold surfaces, convection through moving air, radiation through infrared energy escaping from your skin, evaporation through moisture on your skin and in your breath. To survive, you must reduce losses through all 4 pathways below the 100 watts your body produces. The ground layer is the foundation. Cold ground conducts heat away from your body 25 times faster than cold air. At -20 degrees, lying directly on concrete will drain lethal amounts of heat within an hour. Veterans build ground insulation from cardboard first. Flattened boxes create air pockets that interrupt conduction. They use multiple layers, 2 layers minimum, 4 to 6 layers in extreme cold. On top of cardboard, they add newspaper or any available dry material. The body layer comes next. Veterans stuff newspaper inside their clothing. Not flat sheets, but crumpled balls that create air pockets. They also use plastic bag vapor barriers, trash bags worn against the skin trap moisture close to the body. The outer layer seals everything. Veterans drape tarps, plastic sheeting, or additional cardboard over their sleeping arrangement. This creates a dead airspace around the body layer. The rule is mathematical. Reduce heat loss below heat production. Attack all 4 pathways. Build your fortress layer by layer. Number 4, the thermal mass technique. This technique sounds almost like magic until you understand the physics. Homeless veterans use thermal mass to store heat during the day and release it during the night. Dense materials like concrete, brick, stone, and water have high thermal mass. They absorb heat slowly and release heat slowly. During daylight hours, these materials soak up whatever warmth is available. After dark, they release that stored heat gradually. Veterans exploit this in multiple ways. First, they sleep near large thermal masses. A south-facing brick wall absorbs sunlight all day. After sunset, that wall continues radiating warmth for hours. Second, they pre-warm their sleeping materials. During the day, veterans spread their cardboard and insulation in sunny locations. Just before dark, they move these pre-warmed materials to their sleeping location. Third, they use water bottles as heat storage. If a veteran can access hot water, they fill plastic bottles and place them inside their sleeping arrangement. A single bottle can radiate warmth for 6 to 8 hours. Fourth, they use their own body as thermal mass. Before settling into their sleeping arrangement, veterans do light exercise. This elevates their body temperature. They then immediately enter their insulated system. The rule is strategic. Capture heat from other sources and deploy it when you need it. Number 5, the vapor barrier system. This is the technique that most survival guides get completely wrong. Moisture management at -20 degrees. Your body produces moisture constantly. Even at rest, you lose approximately 500 milliliters of water daily through insensible perspiration. At -20 degrees, this moisture creates a deadly problem. As moisture migrates outward through your clothing, it reaches the dew point and condenses into liquid water inside your insulation. Wet insulation loses up to 90% of its effectiveness. Veterans solve this with the vapor barrier system. The first vapor barrier goes against the skin. A plastic bag worn as a poncho traps moisture before it can enter the insulation. The moisture stays warm because it stays close to your body heat. The second vapor barrier goes over the insulation. A tarp or plastic sheet wrapped around the entire sleeping arrangement prevents frost from forming on your insulation. Veterans also rotate clothing. Damp inner clothing is removed before sleep and placed inside the sleeping arrangement where body heat slowly dries it. The rule is counterintuitive. Control where moisture goes. Trap it close to your body or outside your insulation. Never let it penetrate the layers that keep you warm. Number 6. The breathing pocket, stopping respiratory heat loss. Every breath you take at -20 degrees is an exchange of heat for survival. Air enters your lungs at ambient temperature. Your body warms that air to approximately 95 degrees before exhaling. That is a 115-degree temperature swing with every single breath. At rest, you breathe approximately 15 times per minute. That is 900 breaths per hour. Each breath transfers heat out of your body. Veterans address this with the breathing pocket technique. The simplest version uses a scarf pulled over the mouth and nose. This creates a pocket of air in front of the face. When you exhale, warm air fills this pocket. When you inhale, you draw air through the warmed fabric. The more advanced version uses the sleeping arrangement itself. Veterans position their face just inside their insulated cocoon. Each exhale releases warm air into the interior. The sleeping arrangement becomes a breathing reservoir. The rule is thermodynamic. Your breath is heat escaping. Recapture what you can. Number 7. The hotspot protocol. Your body does not lose heat uniformly. Certain areas hemorrhage warmth at catastrophic rates. Veterans have mapped these hotspots and protect them with absolute priority. The head contains blood vessels that cannot constrict effectively in cold. An uncovered head can account for 30 to 40% of total body heat loss. The neck houses the carotid arteries carrying warm blood directly to the brain. These major vessels run just beneath the skin surface. The wrists contain the radial and ulnar arteries close to the surface. The groin contains the femoral arteries. The armpits contain the axillary arteries. Veterans protect these zones with fanatical dedication. Head protection is non-negotiable. Veterans layer multiple coverings. A knit cap as base layer, a hood over that, a scarf wrapped over the hood. Neck protection seals the head to the body. Veterans wrap scarves multiple times around the throat. They pull jacket collars high. The rule is strategic triage. Protect high-value thermal zones first. If insulation is limited, it goes on the head, neck, and core. Number 8. The caloric loading strategy. Your body is a heat-generating machine, but machines require fuel. At -20 degrees, your fuel requirements skyrocket. At rest in comfortable temperatures, your body burns approximately 2,000 calories daily. At -20 degrees, that requirement jumps to 3,500 to 4,500 calories. Shivering alone can burn 400 to 600 calories per hour. Without replacement fuel, your body starts consuming itself. Veterans approach eating as a survival activity. They caloric load before cold exposure. In the hours before nightfall, veterans consume as many calories as they can access. They prioritize fats over carbohydrates. Fat provides 9 calories per gram versus 4 for carbohydrates. They eat right before sleep. A high-calorie meal consumed immediately before entering the sleeping arrangement ensures digestion happens during the coldest hours. They carry emergency calories in their clothing. Small packets of peanut butter or nuts stay inside jacket pockets for middle-of-the-night emergencies. The rule is non-negotiable. At -20 degrees, calories are heat. Eat aggressively. Never let your furnace run out of fuel. Number 9. The buddy system. Multiplying survival through shared heat. In extreme cold, group survival dramatically outperforms individual survival. The physics are overwhelming. A single person produces 100 watts of heat and loses heat from their entire surface area. 2 people huddled together produce 200 watts of heat, but do not double their surface area. Where bodies contact, 0 heat is lost. 3 people produce 300 watts. The ratio of heat production to heat loss improves with every addition. Veterans operationalize this through systematic buddy arrangements. Sleeping groups form before nightfall. Body positioning follows specific protocols. The spooning position maximizes contact between bodies. Rotation happens through the night. The outside position is coldest. Veterans take turns occupying it. The weakest member takes the center. If one veteran is sick or less equipped, they occupy the protected middle position. The rule is mathematical. In extreme cold, the individual is at maximum disadvantage. Find your people. Share your heat. Number 10. The isometric heating system. Excessive movement creates sweat, and sweat destroys insulation. But complete stillness allows metabolism to drop. Veterans have developed a system for generating heat without triggering the sweat response. Isometric exercises contract muscles without moving joints. You push against an immovable resistance. Heat is generated, but the sweat response is minimized. Veterans use a progression of isometric exercises. Abdominal contractions come first. Tighten your stomach muscles as hard as possible. Hold for 5 seconds. Release. Repeat. Gluteal squeezes follow. Clench your buttock muscles hard. Hold. Release. Repeat. Thigh presses engage the quadriceps. Press your thighs together hard. Hold, release, repeat. Fist clenches work the forearms. Squeeze your hands into the tightest fists possible. Hold, release. Veterans perform these exercises in cycles. 2 minutes of isometrics followed by rest. The body heat spikes, then gradually fades. The rule is physiological. You can generate heat without moving. Master the isometric system and you control your internal temperature. Number 11. The emergency trigger recognition. At -20 degrees, the line between cold and dying can be crossed without you even realizing it. Veterans are trained to recognize the emergency triggers. Mild hypothermia begins when core temperature drops to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Symptoms include shivering, numbness, and minor confusion. Moderate hypothermia occurs between 90 and 95 degrees. Shivering becomes violent. Coordination deteriorates. Speech slurs. Severe hypothermia occurs below 90 degrees. Shivering stops entirely. This is not improvement. This is surrender. Veterans watch for specific warning signs. Shivering changes are primary indicators. Shivering that suddenly stops signals severe hypothermia. Coordination tests provide objective assessment. Veterans periodically touch their finger to their nose. If they miss, coordination is declining. Buddy checks provide external verification. Veterans check on each other hourly during the coldest periods. The rule is disciplined vigilance. Trust objective measures, not subjective feelings. Recognize the triggers early. Number 12. The dawn protocol. The most dangerous time at -20 degrees is not midnight. It is the hours just before dawn. Your body temperature follows a circadian rhythm. It reaches its lowest point between 3 and 5 in the morning. This natural dip combines with the coldest environmental temperatures to create maximum danger. Additionally, your fuel reserves have been depleted through hours of heat generation. Veterans counter this with the dawn protocol. They set mental alarms. Experienced veterans train themselves to wake during the critical hours. They consume reserved calories. Emergency packets of peanut butter at 4 in the morning provide fresh fuel. They perform isometric exercises. A cycle of muscle contractions raises body temperature through the danger window. They do not exit the sleeping arrangement prematurely. The temperature often continues dropping for another hour after sunrise. The rule is strategic patience. The dawn hours are a trap. Stay protected until the sun has truly begun its work. Let us return to where we began. 2 men facing the same brutal night at -20 degrees. The camper trusted his equipment. $3,000 of laboratory-tested gear. By morning, he was hospitalized because equipment cannot think. Equipment cannot adapt. The veteran trusted his knowledge. Cardboard and newspaper and plastic bags. Materials worth perhaps $3 total. By morning, he was alive because knowledge adapts. Knowledge responds to conditions. Tonight, you have received that knowledge. You understand the veteran mindset that conquers cold through psychological discipline. You know the site selection protocol that can make a location feel 25 degrees warmer. You can build the layered fortress from materials available anywhere. You know the thermal mass technique that borrows heat from the sun. You understand the vapor barrier system. You can implement the breathing pocket that recycles respiratory heat. You have mapped your thermal hotspots. You understand caloric loading. You know the power of the buddy system. You can generate heat through isometric exercises. You recognize the emergency triggers. And you know the Dawn Protocol. This knowledge came from veterans who served their country and were then left to serve themselves on frozen streets. The knowledge they developed is real. It works. If this exploration gave you something valuable, hit that subscribe button. Share this with anyone who might someday need to survive when the temperature shows no mercy. And now one question for you. Have you ever faced extreme cold without adequate preparation? What happened? What would you do differently with this knowledge? Share your story in the comments below. Someone else might learn from your experience. Stay warm, stay prepared, and I will see you in the next deep dive.